right? This is where you actually get to prove yourself. So they've already made it to the point where we can actually have this conversation. Complexity and Envy moving to bind, and I think you, like you mentioned, the map pool right now kind of favoring Envy, at least in our eyes, a bit. I think this first opener map, at least, to get some momentum going early on for this Complexity side, you know, winning pistol, winning the decisive first half, and taking that into map 2 is probably their best bet to actually, you know, make this series competitive and maybe push it to 3 maps. But you know, on the other side of that, I'd say Envy is still a little bit with their roster changes. Van Silly are looking to kind of, you know, let it be known that they are still that, you know, contender for a top spot here in North America. And certainly mixed results here out of them would throw that into question a bit, but there's plenty of qualifiers to come for North America. Pistol round coming through now.
Yeah, so chat, we wait no longer. We've finally pushed start as the casters. No more snooze fest. Time to start this pistol round as Complexity on the attacker side. Having 3 players going through the teleporter, 1 lurking towards the back of view, and that's going to be ohai. Another battle towards the showers, and it's a trade-off everywhere, but it seems to be the advantage coming in for Complexity, but they're split off across the map now. Now it's going to be a 2 versus 1 by the teleporter, but this is going to allow to waste time so that we have AGM that's going to be able to pick up the spike. And it seems as though they know this for Envy, because they hear the teleporter, but they're still pushing down. Thankfully, there's a turret there that forces them back into their footsteps, but this is going to be an open plant for AGM, for Complexity, but he is at low HP. ohai has to come up huge after this, and he doesn't have any more utility into his kit. He can't dash away, so he's going to have to maybe even run back down short and play with a frenzy, while AGM has pushed all the way towards the spawn site, as he might get caught off guard. Thankfully not. He's made it around the corner as FNS is making his way up the ramp, followed by his teammate right behind him. And they're going to try to get this trade off close range. Not needed, but a dink comes through. FNS is down to 22 HP. ohai is trying to move in towards that lamp side, and he's pre-firing a couple of shots. So his position's given away. He's dinked himself. We're sticking to the defuse, and it seems as though he thought he shot the trap wire, but he did not. And as he walks over it, mummAy gets the kill. FNS gets the defuse, and it's 1-0 for Envy.
Wow, that was one of the wilder pistol rounds I've seen in this game so far. I wonder whether or not ohai accidentally took the teleporter. Obviously, I think he was, you know, at one point looking to go help. I believe that was Jonah outside of hookah, but didn't realize at that point that he was already a dead man, came through the teleporter and split himself away from AGM, and that may have bought enough time to recover the spike for AGM, but Complexity making that round look crazy as Envy just scrambled around the map trying to make it work, and they did. FNS closing things out there. And taking pistol on defensive side bind. You're gonna love to see it, but here we are, Complexity actually forcing in.
Yep.
A little bit of an economical investment, some stingers.
You killed 4 people, right? So you still have that advantage to still make it in your favor. Like a burst with a stinger at that range is still pretty good to take the long B control. And overall, once they're gonna get ready to explode, which seems to be towards B, it could be very dangerous for Envy.
Absolutely, and ohai is sure to make contact over here at Octagon in just a moment. Right here's kind of tough. I mean, his teammate, okay, they are going to be grouped up at least. If he does fall, might be able to trade. Does not. Caboose collects all 3. I was worried that he had no one there to trade, but it doesn't matter. Just mowed down Caboose, letting it be known that long B is his. Envy cleans up the round. 2-0 now, Envy.
Yeah, you saw that burst from the stinger, which worked for AGM, but that was a really nice play for Envy on that hold. You saw how high the pain shells were thrown in the air for Caboose, just to make sure that it blows up and also clears out Garden, so they could actually press forward on that control as soon as the pain shells end. So that forces Complexity to forfeit that area, but on top of that, you have a Sova arrow that was actually lobbed up towards that long B side, which allowed their Caboose to find those players and easily get a 3 kill. But I thought from those players with Stinger's close range, there was going to be some sort of trade happening, but not the case as Envy continuing their strength. As we've seen how they play aggressively on maps like Ascent, they're doing the same thing now on a map like Bind, and they're also winning those fights from the pressure that they put against their opponents, especially playing on the defender side. So Complexity has to be ready for that now, moving forward. Stuck on an eco because they only got 1 kill off their investment. They're going to be broke as a joke and looking to move in with pistols and hopefully go for a plant so they could get more economy into the next round. Nice timing from ohai, but this drone, no, it hasn't been spotted, but he still dashes through, so that gives away his position as they jump out the window and at Octagon at the same time. But it's a perfect crossfire setup for Caboose, FNS, and Crashies. They all fall. The lurk does not pay off here for AGM, cannot catch anybody on the rotation. So the auto-build Q is going to come out. He's hoping that they're going to chase after him and he can land some shots here. And Crashies will say no with the Guardian. And that's a flawless round to make it 3-0. The money is there now for Complexity, but the bonus round continues for Envy.
Right, and this is actually an interesting thing that I think I can bring to the table here. We just checked the scoreboard now. Caboose is 6-2. And we didn't, like I said, we didn't touch on Envy a whole lot during the pregame just because, you know, I think we've seen a lot more of them, just you and I have.
Yep.
And it's Envy, right? They have their reputation. They've the proven results to be a very solid team. But more often than not, when they're finding success, Caboose is fragging out. And so this early, you know, if he's locked into this game, if he's somebody who's going to be fragging out for Envy and he's already feeling himself, he's handling those long B angles so well. And I know they were just ecos. I know they were, you know, a forced stinger round, but just that alone is enough to tell me that Envy's coming to play today, and Complexity, sure to at least meet hefty resistance each and every time they're coming up this long B. And luckily, only a little bit of damage. Caboose finding one onto Sharky. And again, as you mentioned, Vansley, this is just a bonus round. So we see Spectres, Guardian, whatever else Envy does have in their arsenal. They're hanging on to it in the effort to crutch Complexity just a little bit further in the economic hole and build up anchor their own. But just a minute left. See Complexity down a man. Actually, XP3 even it up, finding that one on a Caboose, but haven't moved on to the bomb site yet. So the rotations from Envy should be coming in just any moment now. 2 players there, 3 players, excuse me. And the B push stalled out a bit by the paranoia. So Crashies is able to swing through. mummAy finds 2 of his own, and now it's just XP3 trapped in hookah. Surrounded for just a moment, drops FNS. And this is definitely a winnable clutch. 30 seconds, has some time on the clock left to work with. XP3 creeping forward. And a lot of respect being given towards them. Some utility tossed out just to deny the vision, but through the smoke, murdering food. XP3 definitely has an opportunity to win this round now. Has his ultimate nowhere near the spike though, so this is going to be a tough angle.
10 seconds left.
Whether or not he's going to be able to at least spot that he went towards long, no. Has no idea where he is. 5 seconds. Probably no way for XP3 to even find him at this point. And yeah, he's going to take the teleporter. That's all a wrap now. Envy leading 4-0, but making it scary was XP3 there at the end.
Yeah, and that was still a good round, victory for mummAy. Oh, actually, maybe not. I thought mummAy, with the time remaining, maybe wanted to pick up a rifle on the way out towards the teleporter, but I'm not sure whether his opponents died at the same time too. But yeah, XP3, valiant effort actually versus his opponents of Envy. And I like, at least from Complexity, what they did was that they were able to force out the showstopper early from Caboose. You saw that paranoia that came through, and Caboose got the kill no matter what, but as they added more pressure towards long B, they forced the rocket out of Caboose, and we were still able to jet away from it with ohai. So this is going to help a little bit later on as they're going to finish this eco here and have a gun round where they can move a little bit more freely around the map and not be scared of those types of utilities and ultimates that could slow them down when they're trying to get early pressure. But the thing is, for Envy, they have a run it back and also a Hunter's Fury into that next round. So it might be tough, but it starts off well, at least with a nice shot from Sharky on this eco. Long range in the face, food to fall. And now we will just see as it calms down for a bit. Seems as though Envy, they have a lower number in terms of numbers inside the site for the B side, but they had the crossfire set up, but ohai gets the spray through the smoke. And now as they jump out towards that site, FNS is going to be out in the open. They're trying to counter back with pink shells on the defender side, and FNS still holds his ground in the tuna can. And that's going to be 5 unanswered rounds for Envy. Normal scoreline actually at this point, Alex, but the money finally is going to be right with an operator too.
Yeah, this is probably, I would say this is, you know, up until this point, Complexity hasn't really had an opportunity to get a firm gun round or a round where they're maybe an even chance to go into it.
Yeah.
You know, working the bonus on that previous gun round against Envy.
That was their advantage,
actually,
face. And they lost that.
As soon as you blow up a strat as early on in that round, it just was 5v4. It's so tough to crack into the B-bomb site, but Complexity now, I think it's ohai does spot the ultimate for catching that paranoia, so he's going to fall back. saved, bailed out there, but I believe that was Sharky. It was a close call, but the short aggression from Envy is scouted out a bit. ohai's gonna collect the first, so mummAy falls. Doesn't know that there's 2 more players pressed down towards Team Mid. AGM finds 1. Clears him out as well, and that's food to fall. Now there's just 2 members left from Envy remaining. 2v5. Mid aggression is absolutely just stopped in its tracks. Jonah P finds Caboose, and now it's just crashies over here rotating to A Heaven. Does have a Vandal, and there's plenty of time left on the clock. Maybe looking to see whether or not this is a clutch scenario for him. Maybe he gets a kill or 2 here early and decides to go for it. He does have his ultimate, but ohai locked in on that Heaven position, drops him quickly. And you know, I kind of was speaking to the fact that Complexity hasn't been able to show us any executes yet on these gun rounds, right? This isn't they haven't gotten an opportunity to show us what they can do.
Yeah.
And again, right there, Envy had no intention of letting them do that, right?
Yeah.
They don't want Complexity to get into a groove. They don't want this operator to be a major factor, and it already has. ohai has been, you know, that round alone, finding 2 kills that come up huge in the end for Complexity. But I like the aggression from Envy. I don't want to sound like I'm, you know, somehow in any way saying that round shouldn't have gone down that way. I like that they're not letting Complexity get comfortable, but Complexity fends it off well, basically.
Yeah, it was just a tough one, though, right? The Blaze Wall, Paranoia with the run it back. The idea was there. They wanted to play off the ultimate, and we're hoping that the run it back was going to get 1 or 2 kills, right? The only thing that he got was information that there was going to be an AWPer and also a rifler to set up the crossfire and hold out against the run it back. But as they move back forward and they gain that traction and gain that pressure for short A, they've already committed so far up, they're like, well, we already lost a player, we might as well have to play it, because the idea was that they would have a numbers advantage on a short A2, maybe like a 3-on-2 or 3-on-1 based off the kills of the run it back. But Complexity did such a great job to defend it that it just threw Envy off. When we were saying, like, maybe some of those kills just shambles the whole strategy from Envy versus Complexity a few rounds ago, I feel that Complexity just did that to Envy on that previous one. So their pressure, like you said, it's very nice that it was done for Envy, but in the end, Complexity still holds strong and continue to press into this map, into this B side, and they're looking for a 5-man hit, but the rotation's already there. And I like this too, going straight for the Hunter's Fury, not even using an Owl Drone. He gets a double with that as Food and crashies fall. At the same time, they lost a 3rd for Envy, but mummAy is trying to do his best to hold it back into his advantage, into their advantage to maybe do a 4 versus 2, but they put down the ultimate from AGM. The lockdown is set on the ground, and they've locked down the site, and it seems as though they've locked down the round as well, as the last 2 players will save their weapons.
Wow, what a Hunter's Fury coming out there from Jonah P. Obviously, from our caster vision, we knew that there was 2 players in very close proximity to one another, and then he collects the tag on the first, grabs the tag on the second, and then they just line up perfectly for him. The bomb site's suddenly wide open. There was 4 players from Envy there, but at that point, it does not matter. And I think Envy should be successful in at least saving one of these weapons. We do see XP3 creeping around through the tunnel area, and he will meet FNS. mummAy dropped him quick. The 2 weapons do get saved for Envy. That's an Operator and a Phantom. But not all is lost there. Yeah, I mean that's impact weaponry, exactly. So this is going to be a big buy coming out from Envy, regardless of what their money may have been. You still, you know, you have a Hunter's Fury on crashies, and you know Complexity used 2 ultimates in that round. I believe it was both the Raze and the Hunter's Fury. Maybe even you see AGM actually at a reset on his ultimate points as well. So I may have missed a Killjoy.
Yeah, they put the lockdown into the site once they got in at B just the previous round.
Caster blind, lull. But a nice little, I mean, 3 ultimates, that's not a total loss. You know, you save 2 guns in there. That's all I was trying to say. crashies facing some pressure over here at Long Beach, but it's an across the map spread, a default from Complexity here, Vansili.
Yeah, they put some sort of pressure towards the shower side, but not fully to really try to contest the orb. The camera's going to spot Sharky, so they kind of know that there's going to be some lurk happening. And from that camera, they actually decide to move crashies forward to play the angle instead. So the rotation comes back from Food. They could play turtled inside the site and really just focus towards along B, where they kind of play a 2 versus 2 towards Octagon. But as crashies continues to move forward, I don't know if it's going to owl drone out, but the first battle finally happens inside the showers, and Caboose is going to be the one that takes the upper hand. XP3 trying to walk through his own smoke, and he pays the price, unless it was a mummAy smoke, but still, well, it's going to be mummAy that gets the kill with the operator. So that weapon that was saved previously, we said it was a high-impact rifle. Definitely at that point, we already have a 5-on-3 situation where the last 3 players are trying to give it up as they're going to try to work towards this B side. But like I said, while all this happens and you're still allowing crashies to lurk forward at
30 seconds left.
you forfeited that area. You went back towards short A as sharky, and that allowed crashies to just move forward, drop the spike carrier. Now everybody's converging into this fountain side, and sharky's going to be on his own.
Yeah, and this could be a safe scenario, but if only they knew how close these opponents were. Okay, maybe he
10
does, actually. He is
seconds
going to go for it. 2 kills here for complexity would be huge.
Yeah.
We can get the operator somehow out of his hands. Obviously, that would be even bigger, but, you know, the money isn't too spectacular from Envy. Okay, they're not going to chase him, so it's all good. We should have everybody living here. But, you know, at that point, if crashies somehow... Oh, right there. crashies did fall. They collected 2 kills. Complexity's money wouldn't have... Or Envy's money wouldn't have been broken by any means, but definitely would have at least suppressed it such that you wouldn't have a scenario. Now, if you look at Tab right there, there's a lot of money being built up by Envy, and they're going to bust out a double op because they're doing that well.
Yeah.
And it only took 2 rounds going their way for this to happen. So now that it's 6-2, you know, Complexity definitely needs more rounds to make this half, you know, a feel-good half for them. I wonder whether or not they're going to need to move maybe towards more of a 5-man, just out the gate strat on a bomb site, because what Envy's doing is they're fencing off these angles. Jonah P's actually about to face it over here at Long B. They're basically narrowing down these angles with the operators and making sure that if Complexity wishes to move forward and execute on a bomb site, they're going to be losing players before they even get close.
Yeah.
Right here, we see this perfectly pictured through Envy's bathroom operator over there on mummAy. Just on the other side of that wall is Complexity member, and the A push does begin. They're moving up short. The FNS is the first to strike through the smoke on XP3. ohai makes it with a dash up through U-Haul, finds one on FNS. AGM will fall to that mummAy position at Showers, though, so they know an operator is still operating in their side. Envy holding the A bomb site securely at this point. The showstopper yields nothing. Jonah P finds a nice shot onto food, but not before catching one of his own from Caboose. Now it's just ohai, lonely and alone. Over here in U-Haul, stranded, forgotten. Caboose looking rock solid, 12-5. He's having a good game already, and mummAy is really becoming a problem now with this operator, Vansily.
Yeah, even at this point, the corner that he had on the left side of Showers, I thought he was left for dead pretty much at that point, because usually when we have players playing those positions, you also have like an Omen playing inside the site. Let's take, for example, 100 Thieves. When Steel decides to push towards that corner, at least you have Nitro that's going to play towards the towel area, that corner box inside the site, so that if Steel comes into contact, well, the paranoia could be thrown. If mummAy actually missed a shot versus AGM, he probably had no escape while he had to switch weapons or not, and it would have been a huge plus for Complexity. But right now, it seems as though whoever's wielding an operator for Envy is not missing, and it's not only going to be mummAy a throw on their side with the operator, it seems to be crashies at this point too. So Complexity continuing this slow pace right now and slowly taking map control is not working out in their favor, at least to start the beginning of the round. And when they also try to explode into the site, just like we saw the last round, they're also being held. So Envy are doing a great job on the defense so far, and no way can we see Complexity take control of any area of the map. They lurk towards that mid-side short. It just... nothing's working. I think so far, Hookah may have been the best area for Sharky to take control of. And I think he needs a little bit more support. Because if the camera spots him, he could tag it out, they could break the camera, then they could take that slow Hookah control and then maybe eventually split into B here.
I think you're absolutely right, fans. Man, the way that Envy is playing this defense is so fun to watch. And I know I'm not a fan of double operators, so we'll just gloss on
let's
past
not
that
talk
for
about
just a
that.
second. We'll just
We'll
slide
never
on
finish.
by. But I'll say this. Envy is, I described it, we saw it happen. And then here, like, we saw them make the same mistakes, they being Complexity. They're falling. They're falling to these operators in these advanced positions from Envy, as we're seeing it time and again. Nice shot from AGM, actually. They are going to grab Hoop control, so suddenly a 2v4 and possible access to B for Complexity. Gonna wheel it back, though, and regroup. Anyway, like I was saying, this is a beautiful job from Envy to not even let Complexity approach the bomb site. I mean, they're getting in their faces. They're not giving any piece of map control for free. And Complexity's willing to one by one work the map as individuals. And unfortunately, Envy is doing the exact opposite. They're working in pairs. They're working in synergy. They're synergizing their utility. The Phoenix is working over there at long B with the operator, making sure he's not getting pushed quickly. That's exactly what Complexity needs to answer with.
Yeah.
Is you know fast plays to get this map control early, force mummAy back from showers, take long B and octagon control. And Envy is just not even letting them get close to that point. It's not even a matter of whether or not, you know, Complexity's doing the wrong or the right things when we're in that scenario, because the operator's hitting their shots. Caboose is nailing you with headshots. Unfortunately, even if you do get that map control, you're in a 3v5 scenario most of these rounds. So now it's 9-3. The scoreline is out of control for Complexity. They need this last round. And I would love to see them have a fast 5-man play towards the bomb site. It looks like it could be A here.
Yeah. So Lex are calling a 9-3. So you're seeing towards the future that this gun run is going to be in favor of Complexity. It starts with the Hunter's Fury, but it does not ping anybody out. So they're still going to work in the unknown while you have Caboose in a high angle where he usually plays towards Hookah. Somehow is in a perfect angle, but it gets darted out, and the trade comes through. So that allows a 4 versus 4, a counter Hunter's Fury from crashies from the spawn side, and he does hit for 2. No kills, but 2 of them will be damaged as we're moving inside for the default spot. The spike has now been planted. A 1-minute advantage for Complexity as you still have one pinging away here. And mummAy is being met up with his teammate. It is going to be crashies putting the darts out. Food, though, on the spawn side. He stops AGM as AGM was trying to push forward. So it's time to play passive, turtle up inside the lamp area so you can play for that trade. Omen is going to watch that flank from showers, so they're in great position right now for Complexity. We do have smokes to work with, but it's going to be XP3 that gets the first and second from a wallbang on the second kill. Now we're tapping it, we're forcing to peek out, and Sharky gets the frag. So Lex, you were right. Oh, wise one.
I mean, I hate that I'm right for the wrong reasons, you know? Like, Complexity just needed a very slight strategic mindset change. And that was, Envy is going to prevent any sort of, you know, map control. A default is going to get picked apart. And for 12 rounds straight, almost, we saw Envy picking apart Complexity. Finally, you know, immediately we saw 2 players move towards showers. You had 3 players moving up short, like, with speed before Envy can get set up. And they have double op, so retaking A is a nightmare, and Complexity locks up the 3rd round, but see whether or not it's enough. All through this half, it seemed like it was Envy's game, but you know what, on the other side of that, and something that I think, if you're a Complexity fan at home, something that you maybe can hang your hat on. This is a nice shot from Caboose, by the way. Oh, hi. My heart goes out to you, man. You got to But Caboose has been playing out of his mind, and I'll say on the other side of that, that's what I was getting at, really, is Complexity's playing pretty well individually. Yeah, these guys are hitting their shots.
Okay.
It's just Envy's looking real good.
I love this
teleporter play outside showers, essentially.
Yeah, and it's going to be a battle towards the top B. We'll talk about how that pistol round went right after, because the action continues and ensues as they're not stopping inside this B site for Envy. It's a 5-on-4 in favor of Complexity, but there's only one player playing towards the back of the site, waiting for his teammates to rotate, but crashies pushes through his teammates. Smoke goes towards the back hall and gets the kill. AGM tries to retaliate with the frenzy. Back through the teleporter are 3 players of Complexity out towards Hookah, and it's a trade-off. A 3 versus 3 in the end as we're still trying to move forward. We are putting a smoke up. We are going for the full defuse. We do have the frenzies going to work. Caboose playing inside the smoke, but Sharky stops him, and we will get the round. The pistol for Complexity, and that was a beautiful pinch that they had.
Yeah. Pistol round. Honestly, Complexity, I had just mentioned that they're playing pretty well individually. The scoreboard, you know, maybe we see a couple underperformers, but their aim seems to be there. In the pistol round, snapping heads, they collect it. The test now is whether or not, you know, you can talk about mechanical skill and how well people are playing all day, but if you're not putting rounds up on the board, it doesn't really matter, does it? So winning the pistol at the very least for Complexity is a huge win. They're going to have to roll 4 Spectres into this round, save on the Ghost for ohai. Get the operator out as soon as possible and hopefully get some rounds rolling here for Complexity. Envy crashies over there at long B, falling early. Complexity gets the info. AGM falls to showers, but XP3 is there to clean it up. So an eco round coming out from Envy, and they're going to look to get as many kills as they can, maybe a spike plan out of it. XP3 getting a beautiful sheriff shot on the end of Food there.
Yeah.
But, you know, for Complexity, you don't want to lose any more weapons here. This is a dicey scenario. Okay, never mind. I was going to say they had a nice little crossfire over on the bomb site, but Food now just in 1v3 with it all to do, all the pressure. See if this man can hit some shots. There's one on ohai. Busting the curveball out, buying himself just a moment more of time. Jonah P drops him.
Thanks.
And now we got a ball game on our hands. Van Sealy 9-5. Envy leads.
Yeah, and we'll take the moment to reflect back on that pistol that we saw from Complexity's play. The way that they played it, I liked it. You had XP3 play towards the showers, where he actually threw a paranoia towards the front of showers so they could contest that. At the same time, 3 players were looking at the orb just in case somebody was pushing up towards the fountain side first. When it instant action, if I'm not mistaken here, we had the owl drone of Jonah P go through the teleporter, open a sliding door, and then allow the other 2 players to just come through an open door and fight back. And that's how they got the first pinches, leaving a 3rd player behind because it was a Sova to battle long range versus whoever was on pistol on fountain side and win that one as well. So it was.
I'm glad you caught that, because
yeah.
I didn't even see the owl drone. But that is such a cool play.
Yeah, I could have missed it. I could have been crazy too, but I'm pretty sure that's what I saw. Sometimes when Valorant's happening so fast. So
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's been a few things this game. Yo, ohai, holding the off angle with the operator. That's what I was talking about. If ohai is banging with his operator on defense, Complexity is scary. Okay. Caster's curse in full effect. Finesse with a beautiful burst from his Phantom. Copping a headshot on ohai, immediately negating everything I just said. Finding a second on a sharky. FNS is on fire right now. 4 on 3. No interest into the bomb site yet, but
so low on HP, man.
Complexity.
He was so close up for that kill.
They're going to regroup back towards A, seems like, and I think Complexity is going to make the gamble. Yeah, XP3 already moving back over to A. But this would be a big round for Complexity if they could win it, and unfortunately the operator is over at B, so if the play does end at A, might be the last we see of it for a while. Should be unfortunate. I lied. XP3's got it.
30 seconds left.
All right. So if this A play does come in, Vans, this would be really dangerous for Envy, actually.
Well, I mean, they got the turret up as well, so whatever they try to do, even if they smoke towards heaven and towards spawn side, the turret's going to be enough to at least spot them that they're engaging into the site. But with the time left, they have to just run in, and HEM's the one mowing them down, leaving only 1 play remaining, and that's a Raze all the way towards B. And Caboose will opt to just at least get this orb so he can build it up later on, which is a smart play to do, and just save it into teleporting in the end. So perfect hold here for Complexity, despite them losing ohai so early into the round from that after getting that first shot and then losing a battle versus a Phantom. But they definitely stood back up there with that 3-man crossfire setup pretty much that they had towards the A side. They had the time on their side. They just let their opponents run towards them, and just an easy one in the end.
How do you feel like when we're talking about agent compositions, you know, neither of these teams seems to be relying too much on flashes. We do have food on Phoenix, but even just like pushing out of that showers area, I don't even know if food was alive, but there's been so many scenarios, even on retakes, where I feel like the Phoenix, while it's a great agent and certainly has some value, you know, when you're not running any other flashers in a comp, it definitely puts some pressure to find those entries. And actually, Caboose, they're already moved up short.
Yep.
What am I talking about? They're on the bomb site, putting the spike down. This is ohai penned up over here in heaven. The rotators will come in. So this is now a 4-on-5 retake in Envy's favor. Tall order and a tall pass for Complexity to bring it back in. But there's ohai finding one on a crash. They need to start this. The ultimate does get dropped by ohai as well. Another pick from ohai on a Caboose. XP3 clears that ball onto food. He falls and he grabs a second on a mummAy, and now it's just FNS. And of course, this is just an eco, so anything that he can get here in terms of kills would be a little bit of a consolation prize. He does get one at a sharky. Doesn't find the second, but not too bad. And at least getting 2 kills out of it. You know, you maybe hope for another kill or 2, maybe recover a weapon to save, but get a spike plan out of it. 9-7 now. The game is coming ever closer, basically.
Yeah. And you're, just to get onto your topic when you're asking about Phoenix on a map like Bind, I still find that it's really nice to have. Not only for the individual plays on the defensive side that you could do by taking hookah control, right? Sometimes you could have Caboose playing somewhere else, as we saw before. When he stacks up on the A side, you could have Food still play inside hookah, so we could have those individual plays and find that information towards the hookah ramp. But on the attacker side, what could be useful is if Envy has one of those strats, just like they did here towards that pistol eco that they just had, sorry, and they want to try to take control of lamps as 3 players push forward, the blaze wall is going to be really good. You put the blaze wall blaze wall up, you put the curveballs through, and then you run 2 or 3 players right through lamps, so you could actually trade that off. And as soon as that area is clear, that allows any type of player towards the showers to also move out and then hold the angles towards the spawn, so you could get a spike plant quite easily. So I do like the agent composition that they still have here for Envy, and they've played with this composition before. They've played multiple teams on this map as well, and it's always been heated maps too. They've never won convincingly, at least from past matches that I've been watching, because it has been high competition, but they still edge out the win no matter what, and that's what's important too.
Yeah, I asked just because we see Food oftentimes in this entry just getting picked first without getting a blind out. So I figured I'd ask the question. And here we are. This might be a perfect illustrated example. And a nice headshot from Food onto a jump spotting Sharky in the back of the bomb site. Food with a beauty there. That's a caster blessing. We'll count that one up. Jonah P with a nice natural charge from Caboose, ending his life, making it a bit short. XP3 end up in the back, faces the showstopper. Doesn't matter, FNS drops him quickly. Complexity now, you know, just a moment ago it was a 5-on-5, but here we are, a 2v5, and it's looking like a save.
Yeah, definitely. A really nice
hold, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say it was looking like it could be a nice hold from Complexity, but at that point, Food just deleting.
Yeah,
the jump spotter of Sharky in the back of the site, man. What a shot.
And I'm just trying to think about it. Like, was it useful for him to do those jump shots? I mean, it's hard to land those shots no matter what, right? So even at that level, you want to try to go for those jump shots, those jump peaks, just to try to get the information. But even if he didn't do it, right, and he just focused on watching towards the octagon side, you already had XP3 playing pushed up and in the corner of elbow to which he could kill though. It's going to be full blind. He still wins that fight for ohai, but they still lose the op in the end. But yeah, just to reflect back on that, like if he stays towards the site and curls back inside the site, you still have XP3 to place towards the elbow, so that if eventually an execution comes out, he could still spray people jumping outside the window into the site. So it was maybe an unnecessary peek, but still useful to know, to have at least some map control for Complexity in that previous round, because they had nobody else pushing other extremities in the map, right? So you didn't see anybody push out towards the shower side or towards short, just to know how Envy was going to play that round. So, you know, you have to play those cards sometimes, and you have to risk it, and risk it he did, and he paid for his price. He paid with his life, rather.
We see Jonah and Sharky at the bottom of the scoreboard now for Complexity, and I'll say this, I always do, is, you know, your frags and your score are definitely not everything, certainly not in a 5v5 TAC FPS, but when you and I actually, you know, highlighted Complexities, I guess you could say, like, the keys to winning this game, or at least making it competitive. Okay, all right, Sharky. And almost getting one out of Jonah P immediately, so I would have almost caster blessed them to a kill each at the beginning of this round. I'm bringing that up because these two have been a little quiet here in this map. Yeah. And, you know, for Complexity, part of the reason why they've been so successful recently, at least in this tournament, has been their performance. So look to them throughout the series to heat up and maybe improve and start finding these entries against Envy that they haven't, you know, up to this point. But forget about that for just a second. We have the A play coming out from Envy. 3 players coming up short. FNS entries onto XP3. 4v4 scenario now, and we almost have a turret death from Caboose, but AGM comes out to finish the job. Almost gets the second, but mummAy plays the angles against him. Comes out victorious. The TPs to B come out. Suddenly we have a fast scramble across the map. I don't know if they're going to be there in time, so crashies has a free bomb site. Put the spike down freely. Sharky feeling the heat now. The showstopper, like you mentioned, is there, but he's only got 3 HP, and that's a tall ask for retake with 3 HP, even if you do have your showstopper. So I wonder whether or not Complexity is going to yield this 11th round, or if they're going to go for it now, Vansili.
Well, the Blade Storm's out too, so they're going to have to go for it, I think, unless they want to concede it, because you have one player that's solo on HP, but mummAy is in a great spot inside that window. Yeah, you're going to see Sharky die. And then the last one's just going to try to do some econ damage on the exits at this point. As they're pushing out, he does not, unfortunately, for ohai. And they concede the round also with their lives, and it's not going to be any guns saved into this round. It looks to be a mixed buy where those 2 weapons saved could have done big for Complexity, actually. So that could have been a call from the IGL to say, look, maybe they should have saved it into the next. I don't know if it's XP3 that's calling for Complexity.
I imagine it is.
Yeah, because he does have like that experience from calling before. If you guys don't know XP3, he's been playing Counter-Strike since 1.6. So I think he was playing for like Millennium back then too.
Against All Authority,
Exactly,
yeah.
AAA. So once he got into Complexity, eventually at 1.6, he became an IGL, and it just became something natural for him to do. That said, though, as we see the gun round coming through, they are forcing up. So it is going to be a trade-off at the beginning, but it's still looking to be the advantage for Complexity in terms of health. Yes, you have the Phoenix that's going to heal up, but then crashies. Well, he's going to prove me wrong instead. It's a 4 versus 2 as Jonah comes through to teleporter and tries to even up the tally, but look at the positioning from Envy. They're just setting everybody up for trades and revenge kills all the time. As soon as he had a kill, immediate trade-off for every single kill that round. That was beautiful from Envy.
Yeah, that is something we did not see out of Complexity in the last half on their attack side, where, you know, they may have been getting picked early and they may have been facing immense pressure from Envy, you know, on their own defensive side, but the trades are coming out, right, for Envy that weren't in the last half for Complexity. So these rounds are you know, looking close, but really Envy is decisively winning this half already so far, despite the fact that Complexity, you know, they're finding some man advantage scenarios, but they're almost immediately getting even back up. And I wonder whether or not this is a wrap. It's 12-7. We'll find out here in just a moment, but I didn't get to see all of Complexity's buy. I think they've got mostly rifles here, Vansili.
Well, they forced bought on that previous round, so but some of them had, like, for example, a Stinger. One of them had a Phantom. So I think they're going to be on some sort of a broken buy into this round here too. You see rifles through the X-ray, but it doesn't matter. They're still dropping, unfortunately, with this map control from Envy, and that's what we talked about, right? They got into hookah with 3 players moving in there instead.
So many solo challenges, like so many solo challenges from Complexity, which, if you're playing against teams at the same skill level as you, or if you're playing at a skill level where you should be, right, you're confident, you win these, right? Jonah just took a duel against Caboose and won. But a lot of the Complexity duels are not going their way, and FNS finds the trade, Boot clears the site, and suddenly XP3 coming in through CT is the last B defense before AGM joins him, and now it's a 2-on-4 retake, and Envy looking to take this map right here. Yep.
Yeah, so the op is already posted up here towards the elbow. Hot hands on top of that too. I mean, you can't really have any type of map control so far on this retake, so good luck for AGM. Even a Hunter's Fury to add salt to the wound as it breaks the ultimate. AGM does get 1 kill with the Spectre, looking to upgrade as he makes it out into the site. He gets the dink, but that's not enough. And Envy will win this first map 13-7 on Bind, their map pick. So we still have...